Good evening. Up front tonight, the Little Rock School District interim superintendent being accused of plagiarizing his dissertation while he was working to obtain his doctorates.
And Channel 7's Maureen Glisovic caught up with Dr. Dexter Suggs, who says those allegations are false. Maureen?
Blogger Matt Campbell, who runs the Blue Hog Report, was the first one to start questioning Suggs' dissertation, bringing this to light. In his blog, Campbell cites several pages of Suggs' work submitted in 2009 and compares it to a 2005 dissertation written by Georgianne Scott while at the University of Oklahoma. He says what's alarming is that Suggs did not cite Scott's work as a reference, despite him lifting entire pages of his dissertation from the 2005 dissertation. I caught up with Dr. Suggs earlier today. He says he has not seen Campbell's blog, but he has heard about it.
That's totally false, but I'll
So
deal
your
with
dissertation was original?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
From front to back, everything?
From front to back. Now, you do have situations where you have to ask for permission as far as if you're going to use other folks, but you have to have the documentation for that.
Dr. Suggs went on to say that he got a release form and went through the entire process and has all the documentation to prove it. I contacted Indiana Wesleyan University, where Suggs submitted his dissertation. They told me their dissertations are not public record, and neither are release forms relating to them. They're also aware that his work has been made public and are looking into the matter. I've asked Dr. Suggs for copies, and he told me the document is located in Indiana in storage, so he plans to make a trip soon and will provide Channel 7 with copies. Back to you.
All right, Maureen, thanks. And Campbell says a source gave him Suggs' dissertation, while the University of Oklahoma's dissertations are available online. Channel 7 also reached out to the Arkansas Department of Education, who gave us this statement. Accusations of this nature must be and will be taken seriously, but a rush to judgment does not serve the public interest. Topping our news today, we were contacted by the author of the dissertation. Little Rock's school district's interim superintendent is accused of plagiarizing. This following a report yesterday that Dr. Dexter Suggs is facing allegations he may have copied someone else's work for his PhD requirement. Channel 7's Maureen Glisovic is here with the latest. And Maureen, this author confirming those allegations.
That is right, Aaron. Dr. Georgianne Scott, who wrote her dissertation in 2005, was shocked to find her work in Suggs' 2009 dissertation without giving him permission to use it. And just yesterday, when I asked Dr. Suggs if the allegations first made by the Blue Hog Report were true, he denied it, saying it was his original work.
I was angry. That was the first thought that came to my mind.
This is Dr. Georgianne Scott, a retired educator who in 2005 wrote this dissertation at the University of Oklahoma. Fast forward to 2009 when Little Rock School District's interim superintendent, Dr. Dexter Suggs, wrote his dissertation at Indiana Wesleyan University. Paragraphs almost identical to Scott's without Suggs citing her work.
He used large sections of my dissertation without any notation or any signature from me, like he says he has those papers, and he doesn't have my signature on anything.
Suggs now being advised by his attorneys not to comment on the matter, but on Thursday, prior to Scott contacting Channel 7, Suggs denied the plagiarizing claims to our cameras.
And that's totally false, but I'll
So
deal
your
with
dissertation was original?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
From front to back, everything?
From front to back. Now, you do have situations where you have to ask for permission as far as if you're going to use other folks, but you have to have the documentation for that.
He even went on to say he specifically obtained all release forms to use Scott's work.
You have to get what they call a release form, so you have to go through that particular process. I did go through that particular process. So
Channel 7 did reach out to Indiana Wesleyan University, where Suggs obtained his doctorate. While they could not specifically comment on a student's record, they did say, quote, "We've been made aware of the allegations," adding that, quote, "There is precedent for the revocation of academic degrees in instances of academic misconduct." Scott says her committee chair, Dr. Jeffrey Maiden, had brought this matter to her attention.
My dissertation was used almost, verbatim in a lot of places to write Dr. Suggs' dissertation, and I said I couldn't believe that.
Dr. Scott told me she spent 1.5 years researching and writing her dissertation, and she says she's also angry with Indiana Wesleyan University for not catching the plagiarism.
And we received a statement from ADE yesterday, but have they commented on today's findings?
Well, Aaron, I did call ADE earlier today, and their spokesperson gave me the exact same statement as yesterday, only adding that I needed to contact LRSD for further comment. However, since ADE now controls LRSD, I inquired again. I have not heard from them, and at this point, it's still unclear who, besides Suggs himself, should be answering our questions.
All right, an interesting situation. Maureen, thanks. Tonight's top story, the Arkansas Department of Education will not grant Channel 7 an interview with Education Commissioner Johnny Key. This following multiple inquiries regarding plagiarizing allegations made against Little Rock School District's interim superintendent.
Dr. Dexter Suggs has told our cameras his dissertation was completely original. Channel 7's Maureen Glisovic continues to follow this story tonight. Maureen.
Well, Dr. Suggs was scheduled to meet with parents and teachers at a brown bag lunch at noon today and a town hall meeting at Central High School tonight, but abruptly canceled both events Saturday afternoon. It's been 5 days since we first reported on this and spoke with Suggs on camera, who told us the plagiarizing allegations are false and that he had planned on providing us proof of that. So just talk to me a little bit about today. As of Monday, it's still unclear if the Department of Education is or will be investigating the allegations that LRSD's interim superintendent, Dr. Dexter Suggs, plagiarized his 2009 dissertation while attending Indiana Wesleyan University to obtain his doctorate. Multiple KATV inquiries were sent to ADE Communications Director Kim Friedman, who did not give us any further comment on this matter. On Thursday, Friedman had given this statement to Channel 7, quote, "Accusations of this nature must be and will be taken seriously, but a rush to judgment does not serve the public interest." Then on Friday, after KTV spoke with Dr. Georgianne Scott, the author of the 2005 dissertation, who said Suggs stole her work, Friedman gave us the same statement as Thursday, only adding, quote, "For any further questions, please contact the Little Rock School District." However, ADE now oversees that district. A request to interview Education Commissioner Johnny Key on Monday was not granted. Channel 7 also reached out to every ADE board member. Several members had no comment, but Dr. J. Barth sent this statement, quote, "As an academic, I understand the severity of an allegation of plagiarism, the stealing of others' ideas and words. But I also understand that anyone accused of plagiarism is deserving of due process to determine whether such serious allegations are true. I trust that we can quickly get clarity about this issue to allow us all to return our focus to improving the quality of education offered all students in the LRSD." As of Friday, Dr. Suggs has been advised by his attorneys to not comment on this matter. And those two scheduled events for today, one that was supposed to start within the next hour, were canceled at Dr. Suggs' request, according to LRSD spokesperson Pam Smith. Back to you.
Maureen, thanks for the update. We also reached out to the Arkansas Education Association, and Director of Public Affairs Susanna O'Daniel says they have no comment.
Topping our news tonight, Little Rock School District's interim superintendent resigns following our reports of plagiarism allegations.
Dr. Dexter Suggs' resignation is effective immediately. Channel 7's Maureen Glisovic continues to follow this story for us. So tell us, Maureen, about the agreement that was reached today.
Well, this agreement was reached between Suggs and Education Commissioner Johnny Key, and this was reached this morning. And Suggs will be receiving a severance pay of around $250,000. Now, there is a catch. If Suggs' doctorate degree is revoked by Indiana Wesleyan University, he will not receive the 4 payments of $50,000 that total the $200,000 he's expected to receive between July 2015 and January 2016. Commissioner Key gave Channel 7 this statement, quote, "The Arkansas Department of Education will work with the Little Rock School District to provide the high level of educational services required by the Arkansas Constitution. Through this period of transition, we will work in a collaborative way with teachers, administrators, staff, and the community. A new interim superintendent has already been named, and that's Marvin Burton." Now, I have been in contact with Indiana Wesleyan University since last week when we first reported the plagiarism allegations. While they cannot specifically comment on a student's record, they have told me there is precedent set for revocation of academic degrees if academic misconduct is found to be true. So again, if they revoke his doctorate,
The Arkansas Department of Education will not have to pay the $200,000 severance pay, but will still pay around $46,000 in the next 10 days.
Now, these developments happening quickly today, and really, if you look back on this, the resignation happening pretty quickly since the allegations were made.
That is right. The plagiarism allegations were first made by the Blue Hog Report on Wednesday, that is. Then on Thursday, I caught up with Suggs, and he then told our cameras that his 2009 dissertation was actually completely original from front to back and that he had received permission to use other people's work. Now, then by Friday, that report had prompted Dr. Georgianne Scott, the 2005 dissertation author, to contact our newsroom saying that Suggs stole her work and he never received permission on her behalf. Now, by then, Suggs was no longer speaking to us, and his attorneys had advised him to stop commenting on the matter. We have multiple times asked for comment from the Department of Education. Where are we on that? Well, the first one came on Thursday, and we did receive a statement, and that same statement, we received it again on Friday, adding to contact LRSD for further comment. Then in another follow-up yesterday, the same statement that we received Friday, and then this morning the news broke that he resigned.
All right, Maureen, thank you very much. We will continue to follow this story and have the latest for you again at 6. We will hear from an attorney who was part of the interviewing process when Suggs was hired in 2013.
A new superintendent has been named for the Little Rock School District following the Arkansas Board of Education's unanimous decision to waive qualifications to hire Baker Kuras. Channel 7's Maureen Glisovic joins us live with more. Maureen.
Well, Aaron, there are some strict state qualifications when they decide to hire a school superintendent. Now, in this case, like you said, they've waived those qualification restrictions, and that was based off of Johnny Key, the state's commissioner, and his recommendation to hire Baker Kuras, that is. Now, earlier today, the board met and they voted, and part of this included 2 amendments. Now, the first part was that they were only waiving these qualifications for a one-time deal. This was just to hire Kuras. This does not mean that the next time, if there's a next time that they need to hire a superintendent, that they could just waive the qualifications. Again, a one-time deal. Now, the second amendment, that included establishing a leadership group to advise Kuras. Kuras repeatedly has said that he's never been superintendent and that he's never run a school district. However, Kuras does have some type of familiarities here with the Little Rock School District, and that's because he served as the board member here, and that was from September of 1998 all the way through August of 2010. Now, when I asked him what qualifies him to be school superintendent, he mentioned his ability to work with people as well as his past life experiences. Now, when I mentioned to him or asked him what his top priorities were when attacking this here as the new superintendent tomorrow, here's what he had to say.
Is reaching kids that aren't otherwise getting everything they need. I mean, we've got 6 schools that are not performing to the standard that we expect. But that's not to condemn or judge those schools. It's just to say that's where the preliminary focus has to be. We have to go to the places where we're not doing everything we need to be doing.
And Kuras starts tomorrow with a salary of $150,000. Now, coming up at 6, we'll hear from Commissioner Key and much more. Send it back to you.
All right, Maureen, we'll see you next hour. Good evening. Our top story, new developments in the plagiarism allegations against former Little Rock School Superintendent Dr. Dexter Suggs.
It's a story our Maureen Glisovic first brought you in April. Suggs was accused of plagiarizing his doctoral dissertation from Indiana Wesleyan University. She now joins us live. And today there is also word that officials at Indiana Wesleyan have revoked Suggs' doctorate. She joins us live in the studio with the latest. Maureen.
Well, today we were able to confirm with Dr. Donald Sproul, the assistant provost at Indiana Wesleyan, that the school made the decision to revoke Suggs' doctorate earlier this month. Suggs resigned from the Little Rock School District in April after the plagiarism allegations had surfaced surrounding his doctoral dissertation. Part of an agreement with the district included giving Suggs a $202,000 severance package to be paid out quarterly. Those payments began last month. Another payment is supposed to go out tomorrow. However, the agreement says the district doesn't have to pay if Suggs' doctorate is revoked. We called the woman who Suggs apparently plagiarized, and the Dr. Georgianne Scott says she was shocked at today's news, but pleased at the same time.
It's just a shame and a pity that he had to do something like that. I mean, eventually people get caught for things, and he got caught.
And as we mentioned, another quarter of Suggs' severance package, $50,500, was scheduled to be mailed to the former superintendent tomorrow. Right now, Channel 7's Matt Mershon is working to find out if Suggs will actually receive that payment and whether he'll have to pay back the first $50,000 already received. More details tonight at 6 and 10. Scott.
All right, Maureen, thank you. And officials at Indiana Wesleyan say Suggs has the ability to appeal the university's decision, but officials could not say whether Suggs has or is attempting to do that.
Good evening. Quarterly severance package payments to former Little Rock School District Superintendent Dexter Suggs are stopping effectively immediately, including one scheduled to go out tomorrow. This news comes as officials at Indiana Wesleyan University confirm that they have revoked Suggs' doctorate over allegations he plagiarized his doctoral dissertation. Channel 7's Matt Mershon on your side tonight, breaking down the numbers. He's live in the newsroom with what it means for taxpayers.
Well, taxpayers were on the hook for a total of $250,000. That's what was promised to Suggs in a severance and release package from LRSD. But that all hinged on a valid doctorate, and the district is using that clause to stop all future payments to Dexter Suggs. Not soon after Channel 7 first questioned then Little Rock Superintendent Dexter Suggs about the validity of his doctoral dissertation, the State Board of Education, LRSD, and Suggs came to an agreement to go their separate ways.
It was a mutual agreement that it was time for that, and we were able to negotiate a separation agreement that was amenable to both parties.
The agreement, a near $250,000 severance package that included a little more than $46,000 right off the bat. But future payments to be paid out quarterly hinged on possible revocation of Suggs' doctoral degree. On Monday, Indiana Wesleyan University confirmed they did rescind his doctorate. LRSD releasing this statement, quote, pursuant to the terms of the settlement agreement and release, LRSD is not obligated to make any further payments to Mr. Suggs, including one that was scheduled for September 1st.
I feel sorry that he had to do something like that because it was 17 pages, I found out, that he plagiarized.
It was Dr. Georgianne Scott's 2005 dissertation she wrote at the University of Oklahoma that was believed to be ripped at some points word for word by Dexter Suggs for his 2009 dissertation at Indiana Wesleyan. Scott says she's shocked Suggs has already been paid nearly $97,000.
If it were up to me, he wouldn't have gotten it in the first place, and I suppose that he needs to pay it back.
Yeah, but as for the money Suggs has already been paid, both the Department of Education and LRSD did not say he had to pay it back. Beth?
All right, Matt Mershon reporting tonight. Thank you. Well, this isn't the first time Little Rock Schools has decided to buy out a superintendent's contract. In 2008, former Superintendent Roy Brooks received a $635,000 payout from the district. And in 2010, Linda Watson received a little more than $200,000 to buy out the rest of her contract with the district.